You've pressed the red button. Now, here's something of no value.
So, Stewart, this show was about books. How many books have you actually read?
In length, I've probably read about 24 feet of books, I think. Because when I read a book, I put it on a particular set of shelves, and then as I grow older, I like to be able to look and think, well, I've read that length of books. I'm not interested in reading long books like, say, Ulysses or War and Peace.
Books.
They're thick, yeah.
They're
I
not
try and
long
read
books.
as many short books as possible, because then I can go, oh, I've read 1,000 books, whereas if I'd read a lot of long books, it would be less books. Really, it's about, you want someone to walk in to the flat and go, oh, look, have you read all those books? And you go, yeah, I have. Yeah. I mean, ideally, you'd have a really short, fat but long book. You put one sentence on a page and the book would be that long. I mean, if you think about that on my shelf, how much space that would take up and how much more impressive it would look. It would make the breadth of my reading look.
So if there's one sentence per page and then maybe 1,000 pages.
1,000 pages,
So
and you have to turn it over.
yeah.
You'd have to, they could be this wide in the actual act of reading.
Now, you have had a go at Chris Smiles, now, and indeed Russell Brand. What have they done to you, and what's Russell Brand done to you specifically, or to your granddaughter?
Well, Russell Brand's had the audacity to start stand-up much later than I did and to do much better. And what I've been able to do is conceal my jealousy and resentment of that as a sort of amusing and apparently reasonable attack on his literary career and celebrity status. But actually, behind that is a genuine resentment. It's not just a bit of fun. It's I'm consumed with feelings of professional and sexual jealousy for him. And you know, when you watch the programme, you'll think, oh, he's just having a laugh. But if you watch it again, you can see in that bit, I think, a level of just genuine, it's like a confusion mixed with a sort of lust as well for him.
A lust for him?
A lust for him against your will. Because he's, you know, it's sort of, and I think he arouses those feelings in a lot of people, and I think people watching it will relate to that, and certainly that was my intention for those 3 or 4 lines about him.
The world of books used to be a magical thing, didn't it, the world of books? But in 1439, when Johann Gutenberg invented the printing press, could he ever have foreseen the nightmare scenario where one day every single person in Britain would own their own copy of Russell Brand's My Bookie Wook? You can read Russell Brand's autobiography and dismiss it as rubbish, if you like. Or you can dismiss it as rubbish without reading it to save time, if you prefer.
It's like a covert message to him. You know, when you're in the playground and you might run up and pinch the very girl that you fancied as a child to kind of get their attention. It's sort of like, it's sending out a message to him, going, what do you think of this? You know, and I'm interested to see what will come back. The 4 years that I've spent trying to get this done is built around trying to send out that one message to Russell Brand, like Cupid's dart it is sent towards his face.
Okay, and are you planning over the next 10, 15, 20 years other projects, whether they're film, television, whatever, in which you will follow up?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, given your experience in television, how quickly do you think we would hear whether there'd be a second series of this commissioned?
Well, you should have heard by now.
So, in other words, I ought to be, I can't pin my hopes of communicating with him on covert messages concealed in a possible second series of this show.
If you've not heard by now, no.
So I should be moving into other areas of the arts.
I think stage or something.
Or dance.
Dance. Now, you've spent a lot of time slagging people off who've written books, but you've written a book, haven't you? Got a copy here. Here it is. It's called The Perfect Fool.
Yeah.
Which I notice is doing less well than the book written by Chris Smiles.
Oh, of course it is, yeah.
Which makes Chris Smiles a better writer.
In terms of sales, it does, you know.
If we analyse some of the writing in the same way that you've analysed Chris Smiles' writing style, literary style, and indeed, or Dan Brown, the opening sentences go, London, long after midnight, the street people agree there runs a train. So, my first question really is, London. It's hardly original, isn't it? Where are you from?
What, as a starting line?
Yeah, well, where are you from?
Well, I was from the Midlands originally, but...
Where do you live now?
Well, I live in Hackney in North East London.
Which is in London.
I didn't go on a terribly long mental journey, admittedly.
No. Long
also,
after midnight.
Well, what I've learned from you doing this to me is it's easy to take it's easy to take any section of text
Well,
and
it
read
is,
it in a
yeah.
slightly sarcastic voice.
There runs a
And-
train. Trains don't have legs.
Well, run is can mean running can mean that the service was put on. You know, it means that the train runs. You know, it doesn't have legs, but running doesn't necessarily only apply to legs.
Yes, but if you want to make that clear, you should
Yeah.
have a footnote or something. Just
Yeah,
to explain
you're right.
That.
Yeah.
Your celebrity endorsement at the front is Observer.
Yeah,
Observer.
yeah, yeah. That was just someone that happened to notice the book and
Yeah.
imagined what it might have been like.
I mean, if you could have someone endorse your book now, who would it be?
It would be Adrian Chiles.
Okay.
Yeah, who I think is probably the person that is most trusted by British people. I think he's managed to strike a balance between. He's not like a know-it-all, is he? He's like
No,
he would be the cleverest bloke in the pub, the person that
He's know a bit of it. He's a know a bit of it.
know a bit of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think that's what people. I don't think people like experts. I think they're suspicious of them now, and I think they want someone that looks like they might know. It's interesting that he's come along in the last year or so, just as I get to do some television, because I think he's sort of redefined what it means to be a television personality, and I think if there's all through the writing of the series and in the performing and in the kind of faces that I made, as I said the words and in the kind of tones I tried to put into the saying of the words, I always was thinking of Adrian Chiles at the back of my mind, that I should try and be, for comedy, what Adrian Chiles is for whatever it is that he is of.
Yes. Do you
And I
think we're
think-
living in a Chilesian Britain?
Well, I think it's post-Chilesian
It's
already.
post-Chilesian.
And I think that he's the start of that.
So we're in a post-Chilesian world.
Yeah.
Prior to that, what major figure had the most cultural impact?
I don't think there was anyone before Adrian Chiles.
Oh, fine,
I think
okay,
there
fine.
was a void, and he's filled that void.
Okay.
And now that we have him, we wonder what we were doing before. For the previous 2,000 years of human civilization, there was a feeling something wasn't right, and it is right now.
You insulted Dan Brown for being inarticulate, and yet we've got documentary evidence of you failing to mock him coherently. We just watch this, yeah.
The worst published writer in the world today is actually also one of the world's most successful published writers, Dan Brown. Dan Brown is not a good writer. The Da Vinci Code is not literature. Dan Brown writes sentences like, sorry, I've had a complete blank there. It's very unprofessional. But with these kind of programmes, people are always looking for something for the DVD extras. I'm sure that will make a great one.
Do you really think of yourself as a wordsmith compared to Dan Brown?
Well, compared to Dan Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's a bit like being the tallest dwarf. You know, it's you're still a dwarf. Most of the things that are in the show are just jokes. They have a hidden agenda, as we've established. I'm hoping for extremely sharp drop-off of sales of his books after the programme's broadcast.
He knows what you're up to. He has. I know he's already instigated legal action against some of the statements you've been making. He's written to this programme, and he says, I'll just read out his statement because we're legally obliged to read out his statement. He says here, "The funny man is not a nice man, he is a bad man. He said badness about the famous writer. He made the famous writer sad."
Well, and there are three intentions for this programme. Reach out to Russell Brand in a covert way to communicate an incoherent message. Secondly, to somehow invoke some essence of Adrian Chiles, I don't know what or how. And thirdly, to annihilate the Amazon chart position of Dan Brown.
Now, on the show, you disrespected Ashadi and the So Solid crew. And although at the time you think you may have got away with it, unfortunately, we got this voice message on our producer's voicemail.
Hello, this is Craig from the So Solid crew. This is a message for Stewart Lee, so you better listen up, Stewart Lee. We saw that thing you done on TV about Ashadi, right? I want you to know that he was really upset about it. And he was crying and really angry and felt betrayed by the things you said, right? And you're lucky that he don't come round with a knife and stab your pillows and your cushions and your bum and all of those things. So why don't you think about what you say before you say it, Stewart Lee, and think about the consequences, or you might find that someone has come round and stabbed all your pillows.
No, I don't believe for a moment that that was a real member of the So Solid crew. I think that you're trying to give the illusion of balance on the BBC by fabricating a false voice of dissent. You know what? There's only 4 things I wanted out of this programme, right? One was,
here we go. Yeah,
one
go
was
on.
to
Yeah.
try and send out some kind of message, I'm not sure what it was, to Russell Brand. Secondly, to...
The Adrian Charles thing.
Yeah. Thirdly, to try and reduce, just to some extent, the sales of Dan Brown's books. And fourthly, it was to try and bring the So Solid crew back into prominence. I know that they're a 10 years ago group that have split up and the young kids have forgotten about them. But for me, they were really taking British hip-hop in an interesting direction in the late 90s. And I think it's a shame that Dee has gone into acting and writing. I think he could have been a significant figure like Gil Scott-Heron or Chuck D or someone like that. And I think by trying to do a joke about them, what I'd really hope is not that people would laugh at it or they'd be annoyed, but they would go, So Solid crew, they were taking British hip-hop in an interesting direction. What happened to them? Let's have a whip round, see if we can't get them to come out again and drive around.